On today's show, what did the LA Clippers lack roster-wise that was exposed in the postseason? Going to be talking about it all on today's Locked On Clippers.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. You were locking in with the Clips. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day, your team every day. I'm your host, Darian Vaziri, born and raised in LA. Been a Clipper fan for 20 years. Been covering the team for 5 years on my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, and 3 years right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube. And, of course, you can listen wherever you get your podcasts. In today's show, we're going to be talking about some of the roster flaws that were exposed during the postseason. Because one thing I always say about the NBA playoffs, ladies and gentlemen, all your flaws will be exposed. And no roster in this NBA is flawless. But I'll tell you what, neither was the Clippers. And we got exposed in some ways. So I want to talk about those ways that we were exposed, so to speak. Now, when you look at the roster, just from the surface, you say, okay, number one option, they got a guy. You know what I'm saying? Whether or not you think he can lead a team to a title, he's a clear-cut number one that can do what he did in the playoffs. And people are considering it underwhelming for him to average 25 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists on, 53% from the field, whatever the splits he had were. Just don't have them off the top of my head. I'll get them up in a second. But when you look at the team's second option, James Harden, James Harden's a good second option. Look what he did as the first option this season. You know what I'm saying? In so many games. Third option, Vici Zubac, not bad. Now, of course, you can question all three of those options in terms of championship. Okay, is Kawhi a number one option on a championship team still? Is James Harden a number two option on a championship team still? Is Vici Zubac a third option on a championship team? Who knows? But I think that's not like a blatant flaw on the roster. I think we got some good guys there. Norman Powell, 22 points a game, all that good stuff. Now, when you look at our roster, though, you say, power forward slot, it's a little dicey. The size overall and athleticism is a little dicey. We have a good amount of guards. James Harden, Norman Powell, Bogdan Bogdanovic. Ben Simmons is a guard, but he's a big guard. So essentially, and then Chris Dunn is a guard, that's 5. And then even though Derrick Jones Jr. is a wing, he's only 6'5". So 5 of the 9 guys in your rotations are guards. We need a little bit more size. And the blatant roster spot that we just didn't have was a backup center. We needed to give Zoo some relief. Because that small ball second unit, while it might work against some teams, against the Nuggets, look, it worked in some games and it didn't work in others, but it would have been nice to have someone more reliable than Drew Eubanks. And plus, when we talk about next season, we want to get back to this spot, maybe even a higher record or a higher standing. We got to be ready for Vici Zubac to potentially go down with an injury. You know what I'm saying? We never know when he could miss 10 games, 15 games, a season where he's not as healthy as he's been every season. So we got to go out there and look for some options off the bench, more reliable for Zoo. No doubt about it. Backup big. We need to address that for sure. And I see a guy right now, unrestricted free agent in this offseason. That would be great for us. Clint Capella. Clint Capella's declined significantly. He's not that same player that he was with James Harden. This past season, he played less minutes than he has in any season since 2016, where he wasn't a consistent starter just yet because the Rockets still had Dwight Howard. He played the least amount of games that he's played since the 2019-20 season when he was traded from Houston to Atlanta. And of course, they weren't part of the bubble. So he's played less games this season, 55, than any of those seasons. He's still averaging, he averaged 9 points and 8.5 rebounds. He started 41 games this season for the Hawks. I think he would be a great option off the bench for us. He's not a starting center anymore, but he could be a really solid backup. Someone that could maybe get a block or two and just be a lob threat still, and someone who's had that incredible chemistry with James Harden. So Clint Capella is someone to look at, but overall, and then, this would be, is Al Horford retiring? Or he's probably going to retire in Boston. I don't know. They're in a situation where they're a second apron team. If we could somehow snag Al Horford, I don't see that happening at all, but that would be amazing. Even for 1 year. Here's the thing. People might be thinking, we got to get younger, bro. More athletic. Al Horford doesn't address that. Clint Capella, in terms of a backup big, I think he's fairly athletic. He'd be a decent option. But Luke Cornett or Al Horford, either one of them would be a great backup option, in my opinion. As far as Al Horford being old, look, it's hard to find good young players when you're a win-now team. That's just the reality. Day'Ron Sharpe is a restricted free agent. He's 6'9". I wouldn't mind looking at him. 8.7 rebounds this season for the Nets. So there's options out there. Moral of the story, we need to go out and get more size in backup center format and also in the power forward format. So coming up, I'm going to be talking more about the power forward situation, how we can get Kawhi slid down to the 3, and what it could do for our team. I got to tell you a little something about Wayfair. The days are getting longer, the weather's warming up, and people are spending more time outside, which means it's the perfect time to refresh your outdoor space. Whether you're working with a big backyard or a small balcony, Wayfair has everything you need to make it feel more like you. Wayfair's massive selection of outdoor essentials makes it easy to transform any space into your ideal summer setup. From comfy conversation sets to sleek dining tables and outdoor decor, they've got it all, and at prices that fit your budget. I love the mix of styles they offer. Wayfair makes it super easy to find pieces that match your vibe without spending a fortune. Shop a huge selection of outdoor furniture online. This summer, get outside with Wayfair. Head to wayfair.com right now. That's WAYFAR.com. Wayfair. Every style, every home. All right. So, by the way, still a little under the weather. Apologies for the seeming like I'm about to die. But anyway, talking about the Clippers and us needing more size next season. You look at our rebounding numbers on the year. 17th. That's not great. Not great at all. We want to ideally be better in that department. The number one rebounding team in the league with the Houston Rockets. Second best record in the league. Denver Nuggets were fourth, so they definitely hurt us on the boards. No question about it. Just look at game 1 with Russell Westbrook. But anyway, when we're looking at, the power forward position, it's a weird one because it's kind of evolved in the NBA. When we were in the Lob City era, we had Blake Griffin, traditional big power forward, could stretch to 18 feet, could post you up, big-time rebounder. Now, the league prioritizes spacing. So you're likely going to have a wing that is a bigger wing that can shoot threes to space the floor for your pick and rolls with your big man and your guards or whoever, your pick and roll ball handlers are. You have that spacing. So, given that, the Clippers need to upgrade because Kawhi Leonard, I don't totally feel he's been overtaxed in any way, but the Aaron Gordon matchup was just a little bit of an issue in the sense that on the boards, it causes Kawhi to have a lot of, he needs to box out every time essentially because Aaron Gordon's crashing the boards. He needs to be that low man that's watching Aaron Gordon's vertical, ability in the dunker spot, get underneath him, meet him at the rim potentially. And I think that's a lot for Kawhi. Now, every power forward in the NBA today is not Aaron Gordon, but when we're looking at the highest level, we talk about a team that exposes all your flaws. It would be nicer, and we've talked about this for a while, Clipper Nation, if we slid Kawhi down to the 3. So we need to get, another guy that can come in and be that low man on the rotation, to be someone that can be like a secondary rim protector. Because the thing is about having no size is there's one thing about Kawhi struggling a little bit with Aaron Gordon, but Kawhi actually struggled the least of all our players because if you make, you have a switch or a cross match in transition and Kawhi's your second biggest guy out there, then who else is switching on to Aaron Gordon? Chris Dunn, Derek Jones, James Harden, all guys that are smaller. So, it is a tough situation to be in. You need to probably go out and get more size. So when you look at that, right, and that would make us a bigger team altogether. Ben Simmons, I don't know. I don't know about Ben Simmons, but it makes us a bigger team altogether to have Kawhi Leonard at the 3. You still have James Harden. I don't know about Norman Powell. I've mentioned that many times. I'd ideally want him coming off the bench next season. But someone like a Larry Nance Jr., he's a free agent. Now, is he a starting power forward? I don't know. He's recovering from a right medial femoral condyle fracture. So he missed the entire rest of the season with that. I don't know what that means for him next season. But he would honestly be not bad. Now, I've also mentioned this. If we can't go out there and get a power forward that's better than Nico Batum per se, or like good enough to be a starter on a championship level team, because when you lose in the first round of the playoffs, there's only one way from there that you want to go. If you're running the team back, you want to progress. You want to go to the second round. We want to win a series for the first time since 2021. So if that's the case, we need to improve. If we can't find anyone at that spot that could slide in to the starting power forward spot, then we could start Nico, just lean into Nico a little bit more for like maybe his last dance, and then bring in Larry Nance Jr. or so off the bench. Now, Larry Nance also can be a small ball 5. He is a little bit undersized at just 6'8", but he's pretty big. He's a vertical threat. I honestly wouldn't even mind having Larry Nance to back up 5 because we still might be able to play some small ball with him. But he's not a real 5 unless you're switching 1 through 5. But I think it just gives you more size in that unit. I think Ty Lue would love that. So that's definitely something to consider. As far as other power forwards, I mean, I'm looking around the league. This is not necessarily a position that, you got guys growing on trees or anything like that. You know what I mean? Because it's not really a real position, if we're being honest. It's like big, small forwards essentially playing the 4. Jonathan Kuminga is a restricted free agent. I think whoever he goes, he'll be getting more money, so we won't be able to pay. Steven Adams is an unrestricted free agent, but I would be shocked if we see him leave Houston. I mean, he would be amazing off the bench for us if we could get him. Talk about toughness and size, but don't see it. And then there's Isaiah Jackson, who had a torn Achilles 6 months ago, so he's probably not even an option, to be honest. So I'm just going to move off of that. But yeah, it's not like the options are plentiful when it comes to power forwards. I mean, Dorian Finney-Smith as a player option next door with the Lakers. Don't see him going anywhere. Honestly, I wouldn't mind Jackson Hayes as a backup after what I saw in the regular season for the Lakers last year. I think he and Harden could link up pretty well for some alley-oops. So I wouldn't mind him as a backup. Marvin Bagley showed some pretty good signs. He's listed at 6'10". He had some good signs towards the end of last season. I wouldn't even mind. He had 17 points in the first game of the playoffs against the Thunder and a 25-point game, I think the last regular season game. So I wouldn't even totally mind trying to even look into the Marvin Bagley situation, given, his Sierra Canyon roots. But just something to consider, you know what I mean? And of course, what trades we can make happen. I'm not even starting to get into all that. There's a lot of salary cap and stuff involved there. But absolutely need another power forward to relieve the stress on Kawhi Leonard. Bobby Portis, I've seen some people talk about him. He has a player option. I don't know if he's going to stay. What happens to Giannis probably really is a big factor there. But if we could get Bobby Portis, that would, I'm not saying that makes us a championship team or anything, but that would help us tremendously. Tremendously. So there's some absolute options out there. Hey, how about PJ Tucker? All right. But, look, I just keep looking around. Mo Wagner, team option for him. I think the Magic for sure bring him back. He would be an awesome backup center if we could have him. Andre Drummond in Philly. He's a little old, but I would take him definitely over Drew Eubanks off the bench for sure. Gershon Yabusele. I think he's going to get some real looks this offseason. But if we could get him after the season that he had for Philly, and a season that was 11 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists on 50, 38, 72.5 splits, I mean, I would absolutely take that. So Gershon, also an option. Power forward, of the utmost importance, because it was exposed. We just didn't have enough size to keep up with Aaron Gordon and Russell Westbrook. Even he's testing our size. He's going to go crash the boards and boxing out. I mean, look no further than Game 4. A lot of that was a lineup issue though with Ty. But coming up, do we need one more ball handler? Let's look at the other deficiencies of this team. Let's see what they are. Going to be talking about those coming up. I got to tell you a little something about car gurus. Now, here's the thing about car gurus. Car gurus, shopping for a car should be exciting, not exhausting. But between the confusing prices and hidden fees, it can feel overwhelming. That's why I love using car gurus. They help you cut through the noise and show you the best deals with full confidence. With over 4 million listings, Car Gurus has more new and used cars than any other major online marketplace in the U.S. They verify dealers, provide real price analysis, and give you the tools and data you need to make the right choice without second-guessing yourself. Need a deal you can trust? Car Gurus makes it easy to compare vehicles side by side with unbiased deal ratings. Buy or sell your next car today with Car Gurus at cargurus.com. Go to cargurus.com to make sure your big deal is the best deal. That's cargurus.com, cargurus.com. All right. So, looking at the Clippers roster. Derrick Jones Jr., Chris Dunn. They didn't shoot the best in the playoffs, although, Chris Dunn, he actually didn't shoot too badly from 3 in the postseason. Derrick Jones was just at 30%. Chris Dunn was at 36%. But it's still not great either way. You see, as I mentioned in the last episode, when it comes to building rosters around James Harden, you are going to need good defenders and you're going to need good rebounders. Good shooters. It's hard to find guys that are great at both. That's just the honest truth. It's hard to find guys that are great at both. Derrick Jones Jr., is a great defender. He's not a great three-point shooter. Chris Dunn, excellent defender, not the best shooter in general. But they helped us get where we are. And there's no way you look at this team and what we did and the defensive identity that we had and been third, or what was it, fourth in defensive rating in the season, right? You bring those guys back. I mean, there's no question about it that you bring those guys back. Third in defensive rating for the season. Now in the playoffs, and this matters because you're playing against really good teams, we were actually in the bottom half. We were 11th because the Denver Nuggets ain't no joke offensively. But moral of the story, you're bringing back Derek and Chris. But when you talk about having another ball handler for James Harden, I mean, look, James Harden's going to handle the ball a lot in that first unit. In that first unit, you have a guy you can throw it down to in the post in Zoo. You have a guy that you can give the ball to in Kawhi. And then Norman Powell can create a little bit as well. There's no excuse to me when Kawhi is healthy, when everyone's healthy, that James Harden doesn't have enough help or enough ball handling with him. Although you can make an argument, and the Harden stands might argue this, and it is somewhat valid. Was the offense looking good when Kawhi was running it? In the playoffs, we had some stretches, but throughout the season, can the offense run well without James Harden on a James Harden team, given that he has the ball so much and what he does offensively? That's something to consider. But like with Houston, Chris Paul used to run the unit, and he's a pick and roll god, so he would get good shots. So do we need another ball handler? I mean, Bogey was supposed to be brought in for that. That's why Bogey was here. He's supposed to help bring the ball up. Because Chris Dunn, we found out, he's not very comfortable handling the ball. We saw that throughout the season. He would literally turn the ball over in the backcourt, look very not confident in his handle, and it would lead to turnovers in the backcourt, some of which cost us those early games at Intuit Dome. So Chris Dunn, I mean, he's out there for his defense and his athleticism, but clearly doesn't have too much confidence in his handle. As far as Bogey, I mean, he's going to be back. I think he's fine. Do we need another ball handler? I don't think so, because a ball handler is going to be small. We don't need that. So the James Harden, the crowd that says Harden needs more help handling the ball, I mean, no. I think he just needs to be off the ball more. Give the ball to Zoo more. Give the ball to Kawhi more. Next season, if Kawhi's healthy from day one, we need to make it an established thing. Kawhi. Let's average 20 shots. Because this in-between where he's not getting enough shots and he's shooting super efficiently, but we're losing, that's not enough for me. Let's get him in Chuck mode. Let's get him in aggression mode. And then save his legs on defense a little bit more by making him... See, here's the thing, though. When you have Harden, he's going to guard the worst player usually. So you won't have Kawhi guarding the worst player. You can't have Kawhi completely taking possessions off. Not saying he does anyway, but, guarding someone else. Guarding the second least threatening player. But see, you can't do that if you have Norm. Then you need those two guarding the worst guys and then Kawhi guarding the next worst guy. So, moral of the story, you probably want Norm coming off the bench just so you don't have Kawhi being taxed so much. So, I mean, those are the roster flaws. I mean, you can argue we don't have enough self-creators, but if you start looking at Zoom more as get on the ball and make a play, we might have more than people think. So I don't know about the one more ball handler, but let me know what you guys think. I think backup center, power forward, very important. Everything else, I don't know much of what we can do. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod. Subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for even more LA Clipper and LA sports content. And Locked On Clippers is free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you know every single time we post a video. The age-old proverb continues. Go Clippers.